opportunity, and that we're going to continue. I'm excited for us to continue to talk about opportunity and how do we continue to empower opportunity in the Nuskin world, and where does China fit in this affiliate opportunity platform. We want to continue to make it simple, fast, and easy. And I've had so many of you come up, and I know the team, I've talked with the team, so many of you have come up and said, all right, we need more details on this Platinum Elite pool. And I know you're fired up about it. You're going to get all of those details in the region session in Dubai. We're going to come together as regions, and you're going to get all of those details in that session directly from your teams. So, and then of course we'll send it to you in writing so you know exactly what that looks like. But be patient. We want to make sure that you have a chance with your region teams to dive deep into those details and fully understand it. So let's talk a little bit about India. I'm going to tee up my good friend Mike Keller and share. You heard Ryan this morning. This is where I get excited when you think about what this means. This isn't just taking a $3.2 billion market and who knows how big it's going to get. This becomes a meaningful gateway to how we take the Nuskin opportunity to literally the rest of the world. When we figure this out, I'm not saying if we figure this out, I'm saying when we figure this out, it opens doors for us to go open markets that right now we would love to go into, but we don't feel confident we have the model right yet for those markets. This is going to open those doors and those opportunities as we build this together and create this. So that's where I get excited, but let's take a look at a short video before I bring my friend Mike Keller up.
This market is 1.4 billion.
India, with a direct selling market of $3.2 billion, the fifth largest economy and the fastest growing one. It has a population where nearly 65% are younger than 35, and it is the world's second largest English-speaking country, with local communities all around the globe. Think globally, build locally.
I love it, and that theme, you're going to hear that theme repeated over and over again. Think globally, build locally. I'm telling you, there are Indians all over the world living outside of India right now, and it's going to create such a unique opportunity for you to grow right in your home country or in the neighboring countries and be able to introduce this India opportunity to them as well. So I've worked with Mike Keller for a very long time. I've known Mike for decades. In fact, when I moved over to Korea with my family, we replaced Mike and we overlapped for a little bit. This guy, he's really smart. He knows Nuskin. He understands what it takes to grow and partner with leaders. And I'm excited for him to be able to come and share with you the nuances of this India market and why we're excited and believe this truly is the next big opportunity for you and for us collectively. So give a big hand to my friend, Mike Keller.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's great to see you all here. By way of introduction, obviously my name is Mike Keller. I've been with Nuskin for 27 years, and during that time, I've had the fortunate opportunity to work in a lot of different markets around the world. So I started in the US market back in 1997, worked there for a couple years, and then moved over to Korea. I was in Korea from 2001 to 2005. Finished up there. It was a great opportunity. I love my Korean leaders that are here. So 여러분 사랑합니다. And then thank you. And then I moved back to the States for several months before going and having an experience in Sydney in our office there. So for those of you from Sydney, it's been great to see you. From Australia, it's been great to see you also and reconnect. Then I went back to the States again, worked in different roles in global marketing, business development, lots of different roles, and then I went back to Japan, and I worked with Ryan in Japan for a short period before going back to the States, and then I most recently was in Korea for 4 years, from 2013 to 2018, 2014, 2018. And then since then I've been back in the States. So during that time, for me, my all-in is, I love Nuskin. I've been here for 27 years. I've made the choice to stay here because I'm committed to the mission, to the vision, and I love what you all are doing. I love to be a part of that. I think we're making a difference in the world. So I am all in. I want you to know that I am all in every sense of that word, every sense of the phrase. Okay, so let's jump into this now and talk about India. In 2018, in Investor Day, Ryan mentioned that the company was starting due diligence on India. And I started receiving phone calls. A lot of them were routed to me. The excitement was there, the interest was there. And as we started diving into that market, I think at that point it was the third time, correct, Ryan? Over the years, we've done different periods of due diligence to try to understand the market. And the result of each one of those working time periods was not yet. We don't feel like India is ready for us yet. And so in 2018, we started to dive into this again. And as we dove into this, we heard time and time again from the consultants that we were working with on the ground, from the market research firms that we were working with, that India is looking for opportunity. That Indians are ambitious, they're educated, they're motivated, and they're looking for opportunity. And it was interesting because a lot of these firms that we were working with, obviously it was our first experience with them, they loved what we had to offer. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm going to share some data. I'm going to go through the data points pretty quickly here to give you an idea of why we're excited, why we're bullish on India, and why we're excited for this to happen in the near future for us. Let's talk about the population. 1.4 billion people. 65% of the population is under 35 years old. This is a country that's looking for opportunity. Out of that, we have, the median age is 28. We have 910 million millennials and Gen Z, and out of that we have 440 million millennials. So let's think about this for a minute. Western Europe, the population of Western Europe is just shy of 200 million people. So 4 times that in India, we're looking at millennials and Gen Z. Eastern Europe just shy of 300 million people. Southeast Asia, the ASEAN countries, 660 million people, and we've got that just alone in India with millennials and Gen Z. So the opportunity is there for us to go in and offer something for them to build with Nuskin, and we're excited about that. Let's talk a little bit about the middle class. Currently the middle class is about between 300 and 350 million people in India. The middle class in India is a little bit different than any market where we are today. Actually quite a bit different than any market where we are today. But it's a growing middle class. It's expected to double over the next 20 years, so then we're looking at anywhere from 600 to 700 million people who are in the middle class in India. Out of that, let's take a look. We've talked about China a couple times today. When we entered China, the market was about $3.4 billion US dollars. Today, India is $3.2 billion as of last year. Here's the middle class comparison where we are today. Obviously in India, again, it's different. $7,000 to $22,000 a year. Now, the higher end of this, $22,000 a year, is where they're in tier 1 cities, in big metropolitan areas. The lower down you go in that earnings, the further out in smaller cities or smaller metropolitan areas you'll find these people. Compare that with China, obviously with the tier 1 cities at the high end, again, tier 1, and then going down from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, you're going all the way down to 15,000. So again, it's different, and this tells us that we have to do things differently in India. There is a market for our Nuskin premium products, no doubt, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but for the group that we're trying to attract, who are going to be our longtime leaders in India, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. Let's talk about how they connect, how they interact. So we have 1.2 billion people in India who are connected to the internet. 88% of those access the internet on their mobile phones. They consume 99% of the data that's consumed in India on 88% of the phones, okay? So this tells us as well, we've got to figure out how to do things differently to make sure that the business is something they can easily conduct on their phones in an app. So we're focused on that. 470 million social media users, you got the breakdown right there. We've got Facebook and Instagram leading the charge. No different than in many of the markets we are already in around the world. They're connected, they're savvy, they're building communities. Just what the type of thing that you all do on a daily basis with your organizations. Let's talk about direct sales. So when we first went back to India in 2018, the size of the direct sales industry in India was 1.74 billion. We did some work, obviously we dove into this head first. We started meeting with a bunch of different groups to better understand India because we didn't know what we didn't know. So we were really just going in trying to be like a sponge and soak up all the information we could that will help us make better informed decisions as we move forward. Fast forward a few years post-COVID, we're now at 3.2 billion USD, and they're growing at a 13.3% CAGR. So a 13.3% growth rate year over year is compounded. And they've got 12 million distributors. Now here you'll notice as well that this female to male ratio is also different than in many of our markets I think in all of our markets where we operate today. You've got more males doing the business, building direct sales businesses in India than you have females. That said, we know that females are becoming more and more independent in India. You've got more and more females who are looking for a job, as well as a part-time job that are still in the home, working primarily in the home, but also looking for part-time work. We heard this time and time again in our research groups that we were conducting, that housewives are looking for opportunities where they can still care for their kids in the morning, get them off to school, meet them when they come home from school, but still look for an opportunity to generate income. So that's changing, that's happening. If we look at the comparison between the United States and India, this is where, again, we're learning as we go, and we realize that this slide right here really does highlight the difference in purchasing power. So if you look here, the US obviously, they lead the world in terms of revenue at 40.5 billion in direct selling, with a 4.8% CAGR, with 16 million distributors. Contrast that to India right here. 3.2 billion, 13.3% growth rate, but 12 million distributors. So the distributor difference is only 4 million independent distributor difference between the two markets, but the revenue generated by those 4 million additional distributors and the collective 16 million in the US is 13 times what they generate in India. So this tells us again, less purchasing power, lower purchasing power, very cost conscious. They're still looking for opportunity, but we have to meet them where they are. And so that's what we're focused on as we develop the India business model. Let's now take a look at the direct sales segments. So this fits really nicely with where we are, right? We're focused on beauty and wellness. In India, 74% of the direct sales revenue comes from wellness, and that is owned by Herbalife. They're creating a market for us. They're creating awareness about the importance of nutrition, about taking care of yourself. They're creating that market for us to go in and capitalize off of. It was interesting, in many of the focus groups that we held, people who didn't know that Herbalife was a direct sales company were still very aware of Herbalife as a nutritional supplement company. That awareness is there, and they basically own the nutritional market, even outside of the industry in India. The 9% others made up of a bunch of different other things that we don't necessarily participate in. So we have an opportunity here. Let's talk about the leaders, the revenue leaders in our space. Herbalife's at 797 million. So pre-COVID, actually, this is an interesting thing to know. Pre-COVID, Amway's revenue was higher than Herbalife's. Herbalife's was lower, it was coming at low 400s, high 300s, low 400s. Amway was at about 425 pre-COVID. So over the course of 5-6 years, Amway has dropped, but Herbalife continues to grow. So again, COVID, as we went back post-COVID, and our last trip back there was, our first trip post-COVID was in 2022 in conjunction with the London Team Elite trip. We learned that there was much more awareness generated during COVID about nutrition and wellness. And so that's taking a larger share of the wallet in terms of consumer spending, and especially in our space. So again, Herbalife's doing us a favor. They're out there creating awareness. We can go in and capitalize off of that. Modicare and Vestige are local Indian companies. They have also surpassed Amway. Let's talk about the gig economy. It's also alive and well in India. It's expected to increase by 200% in the next 6 years, where they believe 4.1% of the workforce will be engaged in some type of gig opportunity. So again, this highlights that people are looking for opportunity. They're looking for a chance to create a better future for themselves. So let's talk about this. I'm calling this success criteria. As we assessed all of the research that we did qualitative, we did quantitative, we held all kinds of consumer research in terms of product concept testing, pricing, opportunity messaging testing. We held these focus groups all across the country to get a sense for where different parts of the country were more excited about beauty and wellness versus opportunity, where the differences were. And so we spent a couple of weeks over there with a great research firm that we found, and we started really diving into market research. And then post that initial research, we conducted several follow-up studies to get better insights into all of this. But at the end of all of our research, we identified 4 key areas we are calling our success criteria. The first and foremost, and I've got it at the top, is all of you. International leadership engagement. If we're talking about markets that we've gone to in the past, in fact, I can't see out here very well, but I know a good part of you have helped us open markets in the past. If you've done so, please raise your hand or stand up. I want to see you. A ton of you out there have, yes. Okay. You have been instrumental in the success that we've generated in market openings across the globe. In fact, it could be argued that you've been the groundswell. You've come to us and said, we believe it's time to open Korea, we believe it's time to open Japan, Southeast Asian markets, China. I mean, we had a groundswell of leadership asking us to go to those markets. Well, we don't have that with India. The Indian demographic is very underrepresented in our current brand affiliate force. We don't have very many. And so what we're focusing on here, what I want to talk with you about today is the need to create that. We need to create that base foundation and the basic push that's going to help us be successful in India. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Product price value proposition. We also got great insights into price consciousness in the Indian consumer. Even in the socioeconomic class A, which is the top socioeconomic class in India, towards the bottom of that, we ran into some very price-sensitive and price-conscious consumers that gave us a lot of great feedback. So with that, we know that our product portfolio needs to be a bit different. And right now, when we're talking about importing products into India, it's not an inexpensive proposition. You're facing tariffs and duties of 140 to 200% just on getting the products in there. So if we were to take that route, automatically we would be pricing ourselves out of where we want to be. So we're looking at third-party contract manufacturing. We've vetted a lot of different manufacturers, and we're looking at doing that as a way for us to be price competitive in the market. And by the way, our research indicated that Indian nationals believe that if a multinational company goes in and produces products locally, that product is every bit as good and every bit as viable and every bit as efficacious as a product that's imported from that same multinational company from out of the country. So nationalism is very high, and people are very open to products being produced in India by multinationals. So we believe that that'll give us an edge and help enable us to be more price competitive in the market. Affiliate-powered opportunity platform. We talked about this just a second ago with the 10 to 1, the 1 to 10 revenue generation gap between the U.S. and India. Because of that, and again, going back to the research that we did, we know that we're going to have to be a little bit more aware of how we're paying out money on the front end, meaning at the selling and the brand affiliate bonuses, and the build bonuses. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Lastly, digital first approach. We've already talked about the digital data, so we understand that, again, there are some high expectations that we're going to have to meet in order for people to be able to do their business on an app on their phone. First thing, international engagement. Let's talk about this. Think globally, build locally. For those of you who've expanded into other markets in the past, you've always had a group of people that you've been building that will go into the market with you. We don't have that today. So where are these people located? As we look at India, we need to allocate some time, a period of time, for you to be able to find these people and get them into your organizations and start training them, developing them, helping them experience success in existing Nuskin markets. Right now, if you look at the data right here, India represents the largest diaspora of people around the world who are living in other countries. And roughly 2.5 million Indians a year leave India and go to other countries. And so here in the markets that we're currently operating in the regions of the world, we've got 6.3 million Indians living in North America, 3.75 in Southeast Asia, West Europe 3.5, Australia 0.9. With that, it's important to note that these are just people who have actually left India and emigrated into other countries. This doesn't include family, it doesn't include generations that have also been born and raised in other markets that are still eligible to live and work in India without visas. So that's something that we're going to need to be aware of as well, and that's something that we'll talk about in just a minute. The question that many of you may be asking is, will I be able to build directly in India? The short answer to that question is yes. The long answer to that question is, easier said than done for you to go to India and build directly in India. The reason for that is, in order to build in India, you have to have a valid visa, and in order to get a visa, you have to have a business address and you have to have a bank account. As foreign aliens in India, those are not easy things for you to do, for any of us to do. So we think that there's a better way, and we're going to jump into this slide in right next, and we're going to talk about the legal designations of Indians who live overseas. Okay? So the first two right here, I want to talk a little bit about the overseas citizens of India and person of India origin, or PIO or OCI. These are essentially people who either at one time had Indian citizenship, the overseas citizens of India, they could qualify for citizenship in India, or they've had citizenship in India but since moved to another country. So they are now living in another country with a non-Indian passport. Persons of India origin are also people who are non-Indian citizens living in other countries. They've given up their passports. However, both of these groups of people can go back to India, and without a visa, they can start a business. They can open up a bank account. They can purchase assets. They can purchase a home. They can work and live in India very easily, easier than you or I could. Non-resident Indians is a class of, just consider them expatriates. So they're Indian nationals with Indian citizenship that are living abroad. So these three groups of people are able to go to India and build in India. And it's important to note as well that the line of sponsorship in India begins and ends in India. So we're still working around the elements of that, but the opportunity is for you to find these people in your home markets, bring them into your organizations, and help them build in preparation to go to India. And when they're in India, the revenue that they generate in India will be paid to them in Indian rupees, and they'll be taxed in India. You as the uplines can also qualify for payment according to your home market plans. So it's similar. If we look at this, for those of you who have businesses in other markets, some similarities in Southeast Asia, some similarities exist. But we'll talk about that more again as we get closer and as we start to communicate more openly about our plans in India. We'll start to talk about that more openly. Let's talk now a little bit about our product portfolio. So if you look right here, you can see our premium products. We believe there's a great market for us in India. 75 million people in India are at the top of the socioeconomic class. They're in class A, 1, 2, and 3. So we believe that there's a great opportunity and there will be great demand for Nuskin products within that group. 75 million people, it's not insignificant, it's a large group of people. The next one, if we look at SECB, we're looking at 130 million people right here. They represent just under 10% of the population. They're a little bit more price conscious. They're attracted to premium products, but they also have constraints that the SECA group does not have. And so we believe that our masstige lines, our masstige products, so for example, Nutricentials, will be a good fit for this group. And then if we go back down to SEC C and D, again, much more price conscious. That's where we've seen success in Southeast Asia with Sion. We think that that will be a good opportunity in India as well. What I've noted right here, new products and services on the right-hand side. We also believe that in India, with our local contract manufacturing that we're going to be doing, and different ideas we have around how best to engage SECs lower part of SECB, SECC, and SECD, we know we're going to have to do things differently. We know that there's product packaging implications, there are product size implications, in addition to the product pricing, and all of those are linked. So as we're looking at the portfolio that we'll take into India, there will be elements that you're all very familiar with. There will also be elements that are new to you because they're going to be unique to India. So if you can take anything away from this slide, these 3 points highlighted. It's local manufacturing, a localized product mix, and we want to appeal to middle and emerging middle class. We feel like that's key to our long-term success in India. Opportunity platform. I mentioned this a moment ago. Because of the condition in India where many people are really concerned about making money and making it quickly, we know we're going to have to lean more heavily towards a higher selling and a brand affiliate commission structure. And so that's what we're focused on right now as we start to build out the business model. We're not going to get into any of those details today. I'll share a little bit about how we're going to start to communicate with you in the future on these things, but for now, just know that that's where we're leaning, because again, we want to have the middle class and emerging middle class, we want to be able to have something that's attractive to them. And then I go back to the 1 to 10 distributor revenue disparity that you see between India and the United States. This highlights the need that we have to do things differently in India. Digital first, I think I talked about that. One thing that I didn't mention was the Infosys partnership that we have. Infosys is a company that was created in India, it's based in India. We have a partnership with them, and so we believe that we're going to get great insights into feature sets that may be unique to India, that may be more important in India than in other parts of the world. We do definitely want to be as consistent as possible around the globe, but that said, we also know that there's going to be some unique differences that we have to account for. So the question you might be asking yourself is, well, who's going to benefit? Like, if India is going to be a little bit different, like, how can I participate? Who's going to benefit with this? What I want to talk about today is anyone who builds and maintains new India eligible. I'm calling the PIO, OCI, and NRIs. Those are going to be India eligible. Anybody who goes out and builds these brand reps, you'll be able to benefit from the organizations that are created from that. And we're talking about an India Founders Program. So what this would be is a percentage of India market first year revenue would be paid according to the personal results from the people that you sponsor that go into India. Okay? And more to come on that in the future, but I just kind of want to highlight that right now. And this is a little bit more detail that'll help you understand this. If we're talking about a Founders Program qualification, we've got Founder 1, Founder 10, Founder 10, 20, and 40. These would be people that, again, you're sponsoring in existing Nuskin markets today, you're helping them achieve brand representative status and beyond, you're helping them maintain and helping them start an organization that they're going to take into India. So my recommendation is that you build wide on your first level. And as you go out and find those individuals who are interested in India and train them, you train them to do the same. So you've got a wide first level, G1, India eligible brand rep group, and you're training them to do the same. And so as you do this, as you start to build that organization, you'll become eligible to gain shares and generate shares for the founders pool that we're going to put in place. I think I got through all that. Let's see, the requirements would be obviously qualify as a founder, new BRs achieve and maintain Ruby Plus title by market launch, and generate India sourced OV. So this is one of those things. We can't stress this enough. We do not have today that groundswell of demand that we believe is going to help us be successful in India. So this is our opportunity now for each of you to go out and find these individuals in your home markets or wherever you're building, bring them into your organizations, train them, help them become brand representatives, and get them ready for India. And as you do this, you'll be able to benefit in the founders pool as well as just the long-term revenue that's going to come out of this activity from India over time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where we are right now. So currently we're in phase 1. It's in process. We are looking at all of the operational elements that we have to have in place in order for the business to be established, for us to get the portfolio, the business model, everything ready to go. And there's going to be an unlock here. So in order for us to move from phase 1 to phase 2, the phase unlock is going to be 500 new India eligible brand representatives around the world. I think we can do this with just this group here alone. if I'm not mistaken. More, right? We can do more. So as we go through, and then as we go to phase 2, the work that we're going to be doing as well will start from local product manufacturing. We'll get the portfolio ready to go through that manufacturing process, and get the products ready to sell. Digital tool set creation, we'll understand what unique feature sets for India that we're going to offer at launch. And then we will also have global trainings. So for those of you who were with us back when we opened China, you may remember some of the market management traveling the world, meeting with all of you. We believe that that was a best practice that really helped us get the word out on what China would become, what we were planning at the time. And so with India, we plan on doing the same thing. We'll work with your local market management teams, make sure they're trained, and we'll also be holding meetings in the future to make sure that everybody understands what India is going to be all about. So as we go here in phase 2 to unlock phase 3, we want to see 1,000 new India eligible brand representatives. Again, I think it's something that we could just do in this group alone. And if you have your organizations also focused on this, I think we're going to hit that very quickly. But at that point, we move into phase 3, which then is really, we're getting into the final stages in preparation for launch of, we're building out office space. We're hiring and training management. We're getting that office ready to go to support you and your organizations when you go into India. And then the final, obviously, the next step behind that is going to be launch. So that's really what we're focused on right now in terms of the work ahead of us. We've got a team of individuals that we're working with at the global, at the Provo office level. We've got the global business process owners. They've allocated teams to us that we're working with to make sure that we get the right product portfolio, the right digital features identified, logistics, third-party manufacturing in India, all of the things that are behind the scene that's going to prepare us for success in India. What can you do today? So, starting May 1, we're going to be opening the nuskin.com/India page. This page will be populated with frequently asked questions. It'll be populated with the do's and do nots in India. We don't want you in India right now. We don't want you there holding meetings. We don't want you holding Zoom meetings. The do's and don'ts there are very prescriptive in terms of what you can be doing in your home markets versus what you should not be doing in India, which is nothing in India at this point. Let's stay out of India in terms of the business. Go there, enjoy the country. It's a beautiful country, but stay out of there from a business perspective. And if you can do that, you're going to help us move forward a lot more easily. You can review pre-marketing guidelines, I said a second ago, FAQs. You can register for periodic updates, and then you can also register. You can have your India-eligible brand affiliates and brand representatives that you're bringing in, have them register on this site. So we're going to be asking for some information that we're going to need to understand how they're going to be eligible and how then we can start to track them and the progress that they're making. So that's going to be available on May 1st. Look forward to that. And my last slide here that I've got really is focusing on taking action. So going out of this meeting, what can we do? Obviously, I've given you a really high-level overview of what we're trying to do. We're still learning as we're going. We want to be able to position Nuskin in the best possible path to success by making sure that we are as informed as we can be, and that we are putting a product portfolio out there that you can sell, you can teach your organizations to sell, and a commission plan that's going to be out there that's going to be attractive to people who are hungry and looking for opportunity, that's going to be a little bit more front-end focused for them in terms of what can I earn today? If I do X, Y, and Z, how does that help me? Obviously, we want to stay true to the strength of Nuskin and the back end of the system, but we're still trying to figure out what that's all going to look like. So with that, that's India. If you have questions, on the site there'll be an email that you can click that will send an email directly to me and members of my team. We'll get back to you as soon as we can, but just know that it's going to take a little bit of time. We're in the middle of it right now. We'll communicate periodically. We're looking at a quarterly newsletter that we're going to send out, so make sure you get registered on nuskin.com/India for that quarterly newsletter. And we'll do our best to be as transparent and open as possible so you understand what this opportunity means for you and your organizations. So with that, thank you for your time. We also have I'm going to move into the next part of this session today with a panel that we're going to do. So I'd like to introduce Caden Apirski. Caden and I have worked together for a number of years, and he and I are working and partnering together on this India project. But what we thought it would be good today is to really kind of focus on experiences. So we've got Caden's going to run a leader panel with people who have built in new markets. They've gone and they've done the hard yards and built a new market. So they're going to have a conversation around what that required of them and what they learned from that and then if we take that and apply that to India as you go out of here today, let's be all aligned in our messaging around India and the way that we're approaching India. And I can't wait to see the activity that starts to happen. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Hello, hello, hello! Hello, hello, hello! There we go. Guys, I'm so excited to be here today. I'm excited to take a few minutes to talk to you about India. But I'm excited to be here because I feel like it's been kind of a funky 5 years or so. It's great to be back together again, to feel the energy together again. I kind of feel like I'm home, other than being a couple thousand miles away in a foreign land. It feels a lot like home. But I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited about what we've heard today. Are you guys excited about what we've heard today? Okay, the products. Who's excited about the products? Okay, 20% of you. Who's excited about the products? There we go. Who's excited about the new programs? This Platinum Elite deal that Justin talked about? Right? That's big. That's big. Who's excited about India? All right. I'm going to do it one more time because I want India to be the biggest one. Who's excited about India? There we go. There we go. I'm excited about India too. It's exciting. There's so much excitement at Nuskin. There's so much that's about to happen at Nuskin. It's an opportunity that we haven't had for a long time, and we're about to have it in a very big way. So as we go into India, there are a lot of questions, a lot of things that we have to work through. But I'm excited for a number of different reasons. I want you to think back. There's been a common theme in the success of every major market that we've opened. In 1993, there were massive numbers of Japanese brand representatives in our existing markets. The timing was right, and we opened Japan. In 1996, there were massive numbers of Korean brand representatives in our existing markets. The timing was right, and we opened South Korea. In 2003, there were massive numbers of Chinese brand representatives in our existing markets. The timing was right, and we opened mainland China. For the last 10, 15, even 20 years, we've been having conversations with many of you about India and the timing of India. And I'm so excited that the timing is now right to open India. But we're missing something. We're missing that massive number of brand representatives in our existing Nuskin markets. Not only are we missing our massive number of brand representatives, we're missing brand representatives from India in our existing markets. And we've got to change that. And it's going to be some heavy lifting. There's a lot of work that we need to get done. But I'm confident that this group is going to do it. But some of you sitting in the audience today, I saw all the people stand up that have been involved in opening up existing markets or prior market expansions. There are some people sitting in this room that haven't done it before. There are some that maybe are a little bit rusty and we need to kind of brush off some of the dust and get going again. So we've created a panel of experts. And actually what I thought about is we have 3 chairs, well, 4, I can count, it's myself, plus 3. I actually almost feel like we need 100 chairs, or actually maybe let's just turn it around and we'll have Steve and Sandy, you guys can come up here and we'll do the panel out here with the experts. But no, we're going to bring up 3 experts who have done it before, who have seen massive success in their organizations. But before we do, I want to talk about this common theme that you're hearing across all of the presentations today, this idea of being all in. Ryan started it. Ryan and I have been brothers and best friends for over 50 years. I've never seen him more all in than he is right now. Never. Like Ryan, like Justin, like Sandy, like Steve, like other Steve, like Joe, like every member of our team, I'm all in. I'm all in on you, and you, and you, and you, all of you. I'm all in your success. And I'm all in on taking the Nuskin opportunity to 1/8 of the world's population who reside in India. And we need to do this together. And we're going to do it together. And as Ryan mentioned this morning, when we've learned how to do it in India, we're going to take it to the next market, to the next market, to the next market. And we're going to start to have events like this where we say, hey, the 20 markets we're going to be launching this year are these. Because we have a model that works in those markets. And I'm excited for those emerging markets. So can you please help me welcome the following individuals to the stage to help us with our panel. First of all, Rain Ho, 23-year team elite from Southeast Asia. Mrs. Eileen Williams, 17-year team elite from the Americas. And Carl Westberg, 16-year team elite from Europe. Come on up, guys. Give me fun. Okay. This could be good. Nobody said they loved me. We love Eileen, yeah. All right. Get out my cue card. This is exciting, guys. So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules. Thanks for your willingness to come in. And really, you guys know how to do this. And so we wanted to kind of come in and say, hey, here's some pointers, some tips and tricks on how to be successful as we go into our next markets. And so, India specific, Rain, I've known you for about 10 years. I met you in February of 2014, right back in Singapore. I remember because I had landed in an overseas assignment, and I went into work. I landed at like 1 o'clock Thursday morning. I went to the store in the morning, got some groceries. I moved over 6 months before my family did. And then I went to the office, and they said, oh, you need to be in Vietnam tomorrow for some meetings. I go, okay. And then Melissa came to my office that afternoon, and she said, hey, Rain and Angela are coming in. And I was so excited to meet you guys, because I kind of watched from afar about Rain and Angela. They're coming in on Monday. So I landed in Vietnam on Friday, and I got detained. And I'm not because of anything, well, obviously, something seemingly illegal, but another story. And I was sitting detained, not thinking about, hey, am I ever going to get out of here? It's like, how do I get out before Monday? Because I'm meeting Rain and Angela on Monday at the office. So excited to be able to have you up on the panel today, Rain. So can you walk us through, you've been involved in several emerging markets. You've been involved, a lot of people recognize you for mainland China. But you've also done significant expansion in Indonesia, in Singapore, probably other places as well. Maybe microphone just in case. But can you walk us through how you prepared for prior market openings, what you did personally to get ready for those market openings?
Okay, first, I think thanks for the invitation. I think this is a lucky day today. It's raining.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Dubai who told me that April month, right, for many, many years, there's no rain. So Nuskin brought in the rain, right? So I think that
we do things different.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a good sign that we have the business meeting here the first day, and yet it's raining. That's why there's so many people here.
Yeah.
They cannot go out.
I thought they were excited to
That is a strategy, right? Well, I think that the question about the market expansion. For me, over the years, for the last 20 over years, I was, when any new market opening, it's just like any new opportunity. I think the first thing that I will ask myself is about aligning for myself or settling myself, right? Why do I want to be involved in the market? So that is the first critical question that I'll ask myself, right? Why do I want to involve in this market? Because we came from Singapore. Singapore is a small market, right? The point of time when I started way back in like 22 years ago, we had only about 2.5 million population, so it's small market. Yeah, so if you ask me about the whole thought process, that over the years of all the market opening, I think I want to sum it up in 4D, right? Too easy for you to remember. The first D is about dreams. So as I mentioned that I started from Singapore, fortunately or unfortunately, right, we have a very small population. So I was inspired by the Nuskin Global Business Opportunity. That's why I came to Nuskin, right? So I always have the global dreams of building my own global business. So that is why that, I was very inspired to open markets outside of Singapore. So that was the first D. So I had that, right at the beginning until today, right, building a global business. The second D is desire. So every of the new market opening, I will start to assess my level of desires. Right, I think the level of desires will have to be connected to your personal goal. Right, just like I like the word empower me, right? Because the opportunity to empower me first. So over the years, we have the milestone in Nuskin, right? From COE 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all our personal goal, right? So I was just trying to, to connect my level of desires, right, for my personal goal. So that was how I thought, So it makes meaningful to me. The business or the opportunity must be making meaningful to me so that I can extend my influence. Right. The third D will be decision. I think Sandy mentioned this morning, right? I think decision is extremely important. So when I assess my dreams and desire, then I need to make a decision. Right? Making decision is always the most difficult. So the same thing I find that over the last 33 years, thankfully that I did make some good decision. And that's the reason why that, of course, thankful for Nuskin, right, with the support that we have. We never fail to deliver in many of our markets, right? So that big decision that I make that helped me to expand my business globally. The last one, right, I think once you make a decision, there's this word called, I'm not sure whether, do and die. Do or die?
Yeah.
Yeah. So lastly, simplicity is about determination, but I find that determination is still not good enough. Yeah, I think the point of time when I opened a lot of new markets, right, it's kind of like do and die attitude. yeah. So you just have to make it because we are all so-called the pioneers, right, that's supposed to lead examples. So if you're not able to create success stories, I don't think that, the local people will be inspired to build a business together with us. So these are the 4D in my thought process that when I open any new markets, yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
Thank you, the 4D process. I got it. Eileen? Same
Wow,
question
he's
to you.
really good.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel so honored between these two legends in the business.
3 legends.
Oh, sorry.
Three,
Oh,
I'm
they-
not counting
I was
me.
like-
Yeah, that's 3 of us.
Of course.
Legends.
So when I started, it was called Nuskin International, but we were just in the United States. So I was excited about the idea of being international. And it's always intrigued me and it's been so exciting to think about going into other countries. But like Rain said, it starts with your mind, it starts with a thought, it starts with a decision. And I tell all of my people, you have to dream big. You have to think in a global, I'm just a big dreamer. And so I encourage people to really get outside of their, limiting thoughts and really dream big. We've been hearing about India for a long time. This is so exciting. But I look at it like a treasure hunt. And it's all about just finding people. Really, it's not the how, it's who. And there's a good book called Who, Not How, but you can read about it. But it's just finding people, making it fun. And I look for people that are much more talented than I am. They speak multiple languages. I only speak English. I barely do that. But it's, starts with the thought, and then you go into action, and it's kind of like you've heard about, if you decide to buy a new car, and all of a sudden you're looking at cars, and you're like, all of a sudden, because you decided that you're looking for a white Ferrari, all of a sudden...
That's not an income claim, by the way.
No.
Just white
But
Ferrari.
all of a sudden, you
Volkswagen,
notice that there are people that have white... You never knew it. You never saw it before in your whole life.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're in Dubai, and there's like white Ferraris like everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's the same with making a decision that you're going to have a business in India. All of a sudden, it's weird. I don't know how it happens. It's somewhere up there. There's some sort of orchestration going on. But it's because you decided you're going to have a business in India that all of a sudden you get presented the opportunity to meet people that might have connections. But I'm always like, who do you know? Who do you know that knows someone? Who do you know that works? I mean, there's so many questions that you can ask people where you can find people.
That's great. Thanks, Eileen. That's perfect. And Carl, you've done a lot with Europe, right? Instrumental. You've done a lot with Europe.
Yeah.
Expansion there. How did you do that?
Well, let me first start by saying thank you for opening the Indian market. I am so excited about that because I've been longing for it for many, many years, and now it's finally happening.
I'll take credit.
But
You're welcome.
I just want to say something here, that this gift to us comes with a great responsibility. All of us are now responsible for how we deal with it. And I mean, even if you only look at 10% of the market, we're talking then about 150 million people. That's a huge market. That's enough for everybody in here. So it's crucial now that we really work as one big force, that our competitors are not within the company, but they're outside the company. Because, sorry the language, it's easy to screw up completely if we don't follow these rules that we will have, how to behave in these markets. It's been tough for our industry in India for many, many years, and this is part of the reasons why it took some time before the timing was right. So we have to be on our toes on how we act. And I know several markets opening we've been to where we kind of already had a bad reputation because of how leaders have been dealing with prospects, each other's prospects, each other's affiliates and brand reps. So let's promise ourselves together that we are fair to each other. We don't, approach prospects or affiliates of other leaders. Leave them alone. There's plenty for all of us. And that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Yeah.
And the ones treating as a sprint, they're the ones that are risking the most of doing something wrong. So have always long-term consequences in mind when you do things, say things, write things. Not if it's good for this moment, but how will this benefit all of us in the future? We cannot afford having a bad reputation in India. We cannot as leaders, the company cannot.
We can't do that.
So, definitely not. So, coming back to your question.
That's great.
So, a number of openings. I know many of you look at Europe as one country. There are many countries in Europe. We speak different languages. The cultures are different, even though you might not think so. So, just if you compare, going to Russia, going to France, going to Spain or Sweden, it's completely different ways of working. Yes, the way of thinking, get to know the market. And as you talked about, why is this market interesting for me? I'll just give you some examples for France. That we lived in Belgium when we started the business, or actually my wife started the business. I joined a few years later full time, but since the beginning more or less at the same time. That's a small market. we realized pretty quickly that France is a big market. It's today the biggest market for Nuskin in Europe. And we realized that in order to penetrate the French market, and we didn't speak French, we need to find somebody who speaks English and French. And that was the beginning for us coming into France. And then we went there basically every month by car and had meetings with several people that we met with. And we always had interpreters telling us, or explaining what we had said in the local language. And that took a long time. So over time, we realized that, we need to learn this language. Otherwise, we can't work here. And I think that the tipping point was when we realized that the interpreter doesn't interpret in the right way. Doesn't know exactly what we were saying. So then, okay, enough with the interpretations. So get to know the market, where you want to go. Find out what is special about this market. Who are they? Who do I know? Do I know somebody else? Who knows? And as soon as you start to find key people in that market, you build your business around them. It's very basic. It's not rocket science. It's what we do on a daily basis.
That's great. I love what you said. It kind of goes back to the quote that Ryan shared. If you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, we do it together. And so that's what we've got to do. It's got to be one team working together. So the next question, Eileen and Carl, you both touched on a little bit on how we find people and attract them to the business before we enter a market. Could you just Rain, could you touch on that a little bit, what you did? How do you identify people with the right connections to build in the markets that we're going into? And then Eileen, if there's extra things you want to share, and Carl, the same thing.
I feel that I don't really have a method, but if you really want to ask me, it's about intention. Right? I think everything is about intention. So when we make decision to expand to any markets, and naturally you realize that we tend to be focused on getting the connection, whether it's direct sponsoring, because I believe that this group of people, right, they are expert. So I don't want to touch this about the how, because all these are really experts, in sponsoring people, whether through the product offering or through the business opportunity. Yeah, but I think the key thing is about being intentional. Yeah, and once you're very intentional, we tend to be very focused to look out for the opportunities, whether it's our direct sponsor, right, through our current network, or this by refer business, or diving deck, right, to spot some of the people, like for example in this case like Indian, right, so we could have a lot of existing customers and potential business builders that we can connect with them. So the first one is intentional, the first I. The second I is inspired. So I think the key thing is about new market opening, that we need to inspire them about the vision, the possibilities of how when the market open, right? We let them see, because none of them actually seen that before, right? So we need to support them with a lot of success stories, right? I think over here we have a lot of success stories. Early on mentioned about whether it's Japan opening, Asia opening, or even Korea opening, right? China opening, and many other markets. I think that we have a lot of these kind of success stories to support that. So with that inspiration, I find that I don't think it's difficult for us to attract potential builders. Yeah. So these are the two I.
Good. Thank you. So Eileen, you were talking about finding white Volkswagen Beetles, and everywhere you look, you see them. Can you expound on that a little bit more, as it applies to finding those of Indian origin?
Well, I find that there's a certain type of person that really gets excited about opening up a new market. It's kind of like the new frontier.
Yeah.
There's a certain person, it's not everybody, but those people that like being first, those people that like being in like the virgin territory type of, maybe I shouldn't use that word, but you know what I mean. It's uncharted waters, right? There's a certain person, a certain personality, and I really love finding those people because they get really excited about a new market opening. And so it's just a matter of asking every single person that you know. I mean, I think it's not so much an online, I mean, I think you have to connect with people with this. This is actually really connecting with people because they almost need to hear your excitement, but also with entrepreneurs, that entrepreneurial venture of opening up something new. There's always risk involved, and I don't see it as financial risk, although I have to say back in the day, I mean, we, made multiple trips to, before we were even able to, make money. So, but now with, that bar's lowered quite a bit with the internet and what we can do online. However, the risk is still there. Like, well, maybe it doesn't open exactly on the date that you gave us.
That wouldn't happen,
Maybe, so the risk of disappointment. So all of that, you have to look for the right personality, the person that's going to be able to kind of go with the flow, learn the business in a market that's open and willing to really, learn it and work on themselves and also have that vision. So it's not everybody, but you talk to everybody and you ask everybody who they might know that would fit that qualification.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you explain that. It's kind of like this idea of explorers and settlers, right? Not everybody wants to go out and explore and cross the ocean and go. They're fine just kind of sitting back. We're sitting in a room full of explorers. You guys aren't going to sit back and wait for something to come. You're going to go find it. So I love that analogy. So thanks for sharing it. Carl, let's...
Well, I can make it very short, so I just agree with what everybody else said here. But if you consider now that you were mentioning, Eileen, we have, with the social media today, we have opportunities and possibilities that we didn't have when we opened these other markets. Suddenly, you can identify people, the way they write, the way they introduce themselves. If